Welcome to the episode of Self Love for Everyday Superheroes Reasonable Doubt. I am your host, Sacred Walker. I am so happy to have you here today. Today, we're going to be going through the empowering concept of doubt becoming your best friend. Whether you are a business owner ready to turn your side hustle into your main squeeze, or really just wanting to make sure self-care, self-love, and success are front and center to your vision, you have come to the right place. We're about to break down doubt, whether it can be one of the 3Ds we're about to explore in a moment. And we're going to really talk through a real life client that reached out, Sarah, who's an influential healthcare professional in Yogini. And we're going to uncover some practical insights on how to transform some success that could have been a stumbling block for her. Now, before we move forward, I want to ask if you've ever seen the movie Reasonable Doubt. If you've seen it, put a comment, like below, and you know you're in the right place if you know this movie by having the actor Morris Chestnut in it. If you know about it, then you definitely have recognized him. So we're going to talk a little bit about that because I've seen it, and this show is called Reasonable Doubt. And I'm going to tie some things in that I think is going to make it real plain about how I think doubt's actually getting a bad rap, and how therapists and coaches out there, I think, have gotten it wrong when they tell you to avoid doubt. Because sometimes doubt is trying to tell you something, okay? So I'm going to break it down, and then if you stay until the end, I have a special announcement today to share with our audience. I see now we have hit over 20,000 downloads. Thank you so much for tuning in everywhere from across the US to the UK. I see people joining in from India. Shout out to those who have joined in from my hometown of Jamaica to my hometown of Brooklyn. So glad to have you here today. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what we came here to talk about. Reasonable doubt. What is the deal? Okay, so if you've seen the show, you know a little bit about what she has been struggling with. Let's break it down. If you haven't, this might be a repeat offender for you, all right? So right away, we see what's happening to this young lady who's showing up powerfully as being the only woman of color at the table at her firm. Her name is Jax. She's being portrayed as having these personal and professional dilemmas and really struggling with doubt connected to her marriage, but also doubt connected to the energy that she's pouring into her workplace. And we see some of the ways that doubt is affecting her decision making, but sometimes doubt is speaking into some deeper things that she's having to navigate. So let's talk about the first D that we need to go into here for a moment. Let's talk about doubt when it comes to looking at doubt actually being a form of divine intervention. Sometimes for Jax, the main character, doubt was a form of divine intervention. It was a sudden realization, an unexpected opportunity, or even a challenge that made her reassess her life. She was having doubt about whether or not she was going to be fully seen and appreciated for anything outside of her being seen as the black partner in the firm, right? The black leader in the firm, the black pioneer in the firm. And so she makes a joke. She says, haha, you're probably putting me with the black billionaire because he's black, right? Just joshing with you. But that was divine intervention. That was her using her code switching to navigate that doubt, to be like, hello, if there's any doubt in the room right now, let's be clear that I am divinely called to be here. So she's calling out, right? She's calling out what could have been a microaggression coming at her, looking at her like, of course you're going to be matched with representing the firm with the black billionaire because you're the only black woman. But she was real clear. Let's be clear that I'm divinely called to be here. So her joke was actually poking a jab at the elephant in the room and calling it out and saying, I don't think so. But sometimes divine intervention can also show up in other ways. There are times where she begins to see divine intervention come into play when her husband begins to speak to her, her husband is saying, I need us to talk. We can't just joke about things. We can't just push it off. I need us to talk. And those are opportunities where God is pouring in and saying, hey, listen, I see that there is stress happening at work that you feel like you can't bring home. And this gets to be a safe place for you, right? This gets to be a safe place. So there are times where there's doubt. She's having doubt about her marriage, doubt about her workplace, doubt about her life. But that D in doubt was actually divine intervention. That D in doubt was actually trying to tell her, hey, listen, something is happening here. Let's communicate more effectively so that we can rise up, right? And that divine intervention also turned into another D, but we're going to talk about that at another time. For right now, at the beginning, it shows up as, something is getting tugged on. Sometimes another D that shows up that is in the form of doubt can be delegation. It's inviting us to let go. I might be saying to myself, I have too much on my plate, right? She starts off the day walking into the office. And if you saw the kickoff season, I'm not going to give anything else away besides the kickoff episode of this show, Reasonable Doubt. But if you saw the kickoff episode, you saw that right away she was struggling. She was feeling overwhelmed. She walked into the office looking sharp, ready to go with her white power wrap on, hair slicked back, and she was ready to do her powerhouse thing. And then she had her assistant come up to her and she had to acknowledge, hey, listen, there's a full day ahead of you. It's not that I'm doubting, right? There was a moment. She could have easily said, can I handle this job? Is it too much? She had to switch doubt to delegation. She had to speak into the power of, I have an assistant here. How about I ask for some support? I want to walk into the room with this power player. Let me make sure that I have someone else sitting by my side and it's a private meeting. She had to recognize the power of delegation. So sometimes when we walk into rooms where we are the only one, the only woman of color, the only Black woman, the only Caribbean woman, the only LGBT leader, the only executive of color, the only indigenous person, the only tall person, the only short person, the only everyday superhero, we might feel like we need to save everyone. And we don't want to become Captain Save a Bleak, right? So she had to tap into the power of switching doubt to delegation. And this is something that we move through in our 21-day challenge. In our 21-day challenge, we really look at what is currently on your plate and how are you currently doubting something that actually can be something that you need to delegate because there's something deeper that you are meant for. Maybe the time you're focusing on A really needs to go to B, and we talk about priorities so that you can really have some peace as you achieve that profit. The last D that I want to bring to your attention, y'all, this one is huge. We talked about divine intervention. We talked about delegation, but let's talk about distraction. Now, in my book, The Visionary Woman's Guide from Vice to Victory for Emotional Freedom and Financial Success. If you haven't picked up that book, y'all, if it hasn't blessed your life yet, when I tell you God poured these 7 distractions through me like a lightning bolt, powerful. And one of the 7 distractions that I speak into is the power or the distraction that will block you from your power, right? And I'm not going to give them all away, but I will say that there's a distraction here that speaks into doubt. It talks about when we are distracted by playing small. And sometimes distractions show up in a lot of ways when they're pulling us from our goals. Just like Jax is feeling sidetracked by various challenges, external emails, phone calls, social engagements, anxiety, doubt, hearing her mom say, he's my best son-in-law, and not really knowing the pain that she's experiencing in her own relationship. That's one of the pitfalls that she was experiencing. She's having this doubt, this feeling of, do I have to come home and play small? Do I have to undermine myself? Do I have to constantly feel pulled? And so that's something to think about, is what are the ways that sometimes when we play small, that is the doubt inside is actually telling us, you know what, actually, I'm hiding behind this small playing small. I'm hiding behind the emails and the phone calls and the meeting and the stepping out of church to take this and to constantly being on. But what happens if I have to put self-love and self-care at the center of my success? Suddenly, I'm not hiding behind playing small. I'm stepping powerfully into all of who I am. I had a client, Sarah, a respected healthcare professional and yogini, who was in the same position. She was at the brink of a pretty big influencer opportunity. She was juggling these professional duties. She was constantly finding herself single and really feeling afraid of whether or not she was going to attract love. And she felt distracted because the voice of doubt inside kept telling her that she wasn't being humble enough, that she needed to really pull back, that she needed to not really speak out. And in working together, she was able to say yes, not only to being faced with, you know what, sometimes I am pushing people away. Sometimes I am using the word humble where there needs to be an opportunity for me to go after what I want. Sometimes I am being in a place where I'm so used to just taking care of me that I haven't let others in. And so as a result of working together, she began to have a deeper relationship with her partner that she almost lost. She went after that influential opportunity, but she also got another chance of loving on her, And she began to tour not only nationally, but internationally because of what she felt called to do, because she kept getting more and more opportunities that called her to not be distracted by playing small, but to honor that her doubt was actually telling her something. Her doubt was her best friend. Her doubt was saying, you are enough. Why are you questioning? Right? Because at first she was saying, oh my gosh, I doubt that I should do anything but be humble. Right? Because that's how she grew up as a little girl. She learned to play small. Children are meant to be seen, not heard. She was a powerhouse on paper, straight A student, but had to get some support therapeutically from working one-on-one to really see herself. We had to navigate backward and really help her tap into the part of herself, the little girl that was lost, and retrieve that piece that needed to connect back to her. And baby, when she stepped into that, she became victorious. And so these are some of the things that we're going to be doing in the 21-day Peace to Profit Challenge. Like Jax, the character from Reasonable Doubt, like Sarah, the real life character, and the person who I'm fortunate to hold space for, who is now traveling the world and doing powerful things. We teach techniques to help you stay focused, create boundaries, and to really have energy management around your time and around your spiritual energy. There's something powerful that can happen when you learn to harness the principles of self-mastery. We're going to do a couple of things. We're going to be doing some well-being mapping in our 21-day Peace to Profit Challenge, where you're going to be prioritizing your self-care and cultivating habits. And by the end of the experience, you're going to be truly, consistently practicing mindfulness. We're going to be engaging in some holistic well-being practices, right? Where we're reinventing ourselves as we step into this new season, overcoming some limited beliefs, and really applying some techniques, some transformative thinking, positive psychology techniques so you can step into your success. And we're going to be releasing one vice, y'all. Releasing one vice. Now, nothing wrong like Jax with having a glass of wine at the end of the day and being able to just unwind and exhale. But I ask you, if you at any point were watching the show Reasonable Doubt and had a moment where you asked yourself, is this the lifestyle that I want? Or am I ready to not only level up my quality of life, but pursue my vision with limitless abound? Come join the 21-day Peace to Profit Challenge. Whether you are a healthcare, human service professional, a lawyer like Jax, everyday superhero, this sister circle is for you. All right. So let me know what you think at the bottom. If you agree that you've had any moments where you had doubt and it could have possibly been transformed with the support of a coach, a mentor, or a therapist into divine intervention, into looking at how a distraction could actually be calling you to something more or blocking you from something more. Or maybe it was something that was actually giving you an opportunity to delegate. Maybe what's on your plate is no longer serving you because you are being called to greater impact. Either way, I'm so excited for your health to be improving, your mind to feel lighter, for you to feel clearer, for you to come out of this 21-day challenge glowing up from the inside out. I'm so excited to call sisters from around the world to come together in support of this next chapter, because guess what? You were born to shine. So now that you stayed until the end of the episode, remember we have a couple of great things that you're going to be gaining from this experience. I'm going to be working with you personally. I have a proven track record of supporting women of color, executives, and everyday superheroes to level up while they improve their quality of life. And we're going to be together for the next 21 days. And you're going to have an opportunity to network with one another, an opportunity to put your self-care, self-love front and center, and support you to release one thing that is blocking your shine. I'm so excited, y'all, for this holistic well-being women's experience we're about to come together to do. Come and join the Founders Class. But in the meantime, know that I'm here for you. I am thinking of you and would love for you to check out the show notes to stay connected. All right, this has been another show brought to you by Sacred Walker, host of the Self-Love for Everyday Superheroes talk show. Like, subscribe, connect below. So excited to have you be a part and have you continue to put your self-love, self-care, and success front and center. All right, y'all. See you next time. And remember, when you remember who you are, the game changes. Peace, law. And remember to check out everydaysuperheroescoaching.com, everydaysuperheroescoaching.com, and follow, like, and subscribe at Ask Sacred. And if you have a topic that you want me to explore in our next episode, or something that you have to say, or even if you disagree, go ahead and reach out to me on Instagram at Ask Sacred. That's AskSacred, or reach out on LinkedIn at Sacred Walker. See you soon.